Greetings and welcome to our weekly devotionals. This week we're looking at a series of different readings in the lectionary for this upcoming Sunday, which is traditionally celebrated as the Reign of Christ or the Realm of Christ Sunday. And so today and for tomorrow I'm going to look at the epistle reading, which is taken from Paul's letter to the Colossians, chapter 1. Recently I began watching this Netflix series. It looked sort of interesting, and I watched about an episode and a half, and I was mildly interested, but I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to invest the time and energy into it. So I Googled the story and went right to the ending. And I wasn't really thrilled with how the story ended, and so I bagged it. And I don't know if I just don't have the patience anymore to wait out certain things, but I feel like I don't want to invest time and energy into something that I'm not really going to be pleased with. And of course, I sort of poke fun at my mother-in-law, who watches movies on the Hallmark channel, because basically every ending is the same. So she only wants to watch stories that have a happy ending. I remember reading about people who had experienced what are called as near-death experiences, and many of them, they had this feeling of euphoria, which didn't really stick with them afterwards. But I remember reading about how many of them had their life was changed because of this experience. They felt that because they had this near-death experience, and they kind of glimpsed heaven or glimpsed God or glimpsed the afterlife, that they were now assured that this life would not be the end. And so it changed the way they lived. They lived with a sort of confidence and assurance that no matter what, things would be okay. And Paul is sort of trying to convey that message in this letter, in this passage. Paul assures his listeners that no matter what is going on in the present, and for those early Christian communities, their present reality was often difficult, challenging, harried. They suffered many trials, tribulations, persecutions, but Paul assured them that God ultimately was in control, and that God was sort of in charge of the ending, that ultimately, no matter what was going on, they could be assured that things were going to work out in the end, that God was in control, and that through the person of Jesus Christ, that death, that sin, that suffering, that any kind of ailments had not the final word in their story. And I certainly have never suffered through a near-death experience. I imagine most of you haven't either. But I wonder if we truly believe these words of Paul, that ultimately our fates are assured, that God indeed, that love indeed will always win out in the end. If we really believe that, how would it change our way of living? How then would we live? Amen.